Anger is like a fire inside us that we don't always know about. It comes on quickly, makes it hard to think clearly, and makes us do things we later regret. But being angry is not who we really are. We can loosen its hold by being gently aware, reflecting slowly, and practicing mindfulness. By taking small steps into its roots, we can find wisdom there. What felt harmful at first can change into clarity, kindness, and a greater sense of freedom. Find out what makes you angry. Anger often comes on quickly, like a storm, but every storm starts with a change in the air. Getting free starts with figuring out what makes us feel hot. Anger doesn't happen by itself most of the time. When something hurts our sense of fairness, control, or respect, it comes to life. A harsh word, a late reply, or a broken promise may not seem like big problems, but they can cause big problems. Planes show up when we look more closely. Maybe we get impatient when we feel like no one is paying attention to us. Maybe we get more angry when our efforts aren't noticed. They're like dry wood that's just waiting for a spark. When we see them, we stop thinking that anger just pops up out of nowhere. We now understand that it has to do with times that make us feel weak. Just being aware of the trigger doesn't get rid of it, but it does give us room. Space lets us make different decisions. When we're not aware, we act out before we understand. We stop and watch when we are aware. Pay attention to your body to find causes. Pay attention to how your jaw or chest gets tight. These signs are messages that point to the cause. Look back when the heat has gone down. Ask yourself, what made me so angry? Was it the move or what I thought it meant? This mild interest starts to loosen the knot. As soon as we know the roots, we can do something. Every clear trigger is a chance to get lighter. We start to make room for peace by pulling weeds out by their roots like a farmer does. Anger doesn't have as much power as it used to. Over time, what seemed impossible at first becomes something we can understand, deal with, and change. Find the secret needs it keeps safe. At the heart of every fit of anger is something soft and unsaid. Anger is often a shield that hides things that feel dangerous to show. It might protect the need for safety, love, or attention. It might hide the need to be heard or the pain of not being seen. When we look more closely, we see that anger is a guardian of softer truths. At first glance, it looks like a weapon. We need to look inside ourselves with kindness to find these hidden wants. To find out what you really want in this moment, ask yourself, is my anger a cover for a need for respect? Do I need to be told that I matter? Do I want someone to notice how hard I'm working? These needs for peace and quiet are not flaws. These are facts about people, but when they aren't said, they show up as anger. When we don't pay attention to them, anger gets louder to be heard. Being weak doesn't happen when we see the need behind our anger. It helps us be honest. It lets us stop shouting and start talking. We don't have to explode to say what really matters. Instead of yelling, we could say, I need to feel understood. Being honest makes it possible for people to connect. Anger separates when it is not dealt with. But once we figure out what it's trying to say, it can lead us back to each other. We need to be kind to ourselves during this change. Don't think the need is silly or small. Simple wants like being cared for or respected are very important. When these needs are recognized, they cool the flame. Think of anger as a door that won't open. It hides the softer self that wants to be heard. We don't fear what's inside when we open the door with awareness. We learn that our anger was never the bad thing. It was just a sign, leading us to what our hearts really want. Make a map of your own angry habits. Like rivers cut paths through the land, our anger does the same thing inside us. As for what makes some people angry, it's unfairness, disrespect, or waiting too long. When we pay close attention, we can see that anger doesn't just show up anywhere. It moves through known paths that have been shaped by our past and strengthened by habit. We can spot these patterns before they take hold by making a map of them. Start by thinking about times a lot of times. Keep an eye on the things that make you feel the same angry emotions over and over again. You might lose your cool in traffic, or a fight with your family might make you angry. These times that keep happening are like compass points. They show us where our anger lives the most. You make your own map by watching them. This picture tells you where the danger is and where the peace can be kept. Every spark feels new when you don't know this. You can see the land clearly and walk with confidence when you have a plan. Journaling can help you become more aware of these things. Write down the times you got angry and what was going on at the time. You will see the same themes over and over again for days and weeks. It's not an accident. They are designs that you carry around with you. It doesn't make you weak to know them. It helps you get ready. It's like a tourist who knows how the weather is in every country they visit. They know what to pack and walk safely. You have more options once you see your trends. You'll know what to do the next time anger shows up in a place it usually does. You could say, I know this path, with a soft smile. During that break, the fire lost its strength. The trends no longer have power over you after some time. Something that used to be a natural response can now be used to understand something better. The better you understand your anger's roadmap, the less likely it is that it will lead you astray. You steer yourself towards a calmer place instead. Keep the feeling separate from who you are. One of the worst things about anger is thinking that it makes us who we are. When we say, "I'm mad," we become that feeling. You are not your anger, though. You are the awareness that sees it, the sky through which all storms pass. Anger is a feeling, not a fact that will always be true. We give it too much power when we mix them up. Start by observing things to get away from your anger. When anger comes up, pay attention and say, "Anger is here." These words make room between what you feel and who you are. It changes from "I am angry" to "anger is here." Everything changes because of this small change. You are no longer being used up. You are there to see it. Anger comes and goes like clouds in the sky. You stay. Having this point of view also gets rid of shame. Many people worry about their anger because they think it makes them bad or unfit. We stop calling ourselves rude names when we see anger as just another feeling. We start to be kind to ourselves again. Having emotions is a part of being human. None of them make us who we are as a whole. This truth sets us free. It tells us that every storm has a calm center that isn't affected by the wind. Get used to relaxing in that spot. Pay attention to your breath when you feel angry. Feel your body breathing in and out. This keeps you in the moment and connects you with your deeper self. You may still be angry, but it doesn't feel like your whole self anymore. This shift changes how we talk, act, and live over time. We go from reacting without thinking to reacting clearly. We no longer think of ourselves as being controlled by our feelings, but as taking care of our minds. And in this care, anger falls away. It stops being the boss of your life and starts living with you. Don't follow your anger's hasty orders. When anger shows up, it often says, "Shout now, close the door, get hurt again." These urges are strong, but they don't usually lead to peace. If we mindlessly follow them, we will soon feel bad about it, but we don't have to follow. With time and smarts, we can question these orders. When the mind is angry, it thinks that taking action right away will ease the pain. But this is just a trick. Often reacting makes the hurt worse. Do not act right away. Instead, stop. It only takes a breath or two to make space. During that pause, think about the order that anger gives you. What will this move do? Will it make things better or worse? How will I feel the next day if I give in to this urge? By asking these things, you weaken the sense of urgency. The spark that seemed out of control starts to go out. It's not about hiding your feelings when you challenge anger's commands. We want to keep ourselves and others safe from hurt that isn't necessary. Think of anger as a rough driver who has a hold on the wheel. We'll crash if we let it steer. If we take back the wheel, though, we can steer ourselves to safety. We make this inner driver stronger every time we stop and think. We learn how to listen without having to do what we're told. It gets easier as we do it more often. Effects of anger weaken over time. No longer do they feel like the truth. People think of them as brief thoughts that go through the mind. Freedom comes from being clear. You can still feel the heat, but it doesn't tell you what to do. You instead choose to act in a way that is based on knowledge. You can give a gentle answer, stay quiet, or just walk away. And those choices help relationships get better, faith grows, and peace gets stronger. We can stop cycles of harm and move towards unity by challenging the voice of anger when it comes up. Watch anger without reacting right away. Just watching can be very powerful. People usually either fight their anger or give into it, but there is another way. Just watch it without responding. It's like being by a river and watching the water run by. You don't get in or try to stop it. You just pay attention. Observation cuts things away. Taking a step back makes the fire seem less dangerous. Take note of the body's heat. Take note of the fast thoughts. Take note of the beating heart. Say to yourself in a soft voice, "This is anger." Just calling it that is powerful. It lets your mind know that you are awake. You're not going to die. You are a witness. Anger starts to change on its own in this place. Like everything else, emotions come and go. They get stronger, weaker, and rise again. If you just watch without responding, you can let this spontaneous rhythm happen. When there is no pushback or blind action, the storm goes away faster. Watching is not the same as hiding. It's not ignoring how someone feels. There is a full but calm meeting of the feeling. It takes guts to do this. At first, you'll really want to do something. Do something may scream in the mind, but if you don't give up, you'll find a quiet strength. The time between the stimulus and the reaction gets longer as you practice. You are free in that place. That's where knowledge shows up. You might be able to see what made you angry. You might feel sorry for yourself or other people. You might realize that you don't need to do anything. The feeling changes on its own when you observe it. The mind gets used to seeing things this way over time. You're not ruled by anger anymore because you're not in a hurry to do what it says. You breathe, sit, and watch. And as you watch, your anger fades, leaving behind a heart that is clearer and quieter. Learn about the feelings it hides. Anger isn't usually the first feeling that comes up. It's often just the mask that hides something softer. We might feel sad, scared, let down, or ashamed under the fires. These feelings are weak, so the mind fills them with anger to make itself feel better. But if we only look at the mask, we never find the real person behind it. To find out what's below, slowly turn inward. Once your anger has subsided a bit, ask yourself, how did I really feel before the fire? Was I hurt? Did I worry about being turned down? Did I feel out of control? These questions help us understand things better. We often want to be safe, loved, or admired deep down when we are angry. How we treat ourselves and others changes when we see this truth. We don't fight the anger. Instead, we comfort the more sensitive feeling it hides. For instance, if we find ourselves feeling sad, we can be kind to ourselves. When we feel afraid, we can look for comfort or safety. Being honest helps. Because of this, we don't have to hide our pain behind anger. It takes courage to deal with the underlying feelings. It tells us to let down our guard and face what hurts. However, this makes us stronger. We no longer push away parts of ourselves. Instead, we carefully accept them. We also feel more concern for other people when we do this. We can understand other people's anger when we see our own as a mask. We know that someone's angry reaction could be caused by pain or fear. Being aware of this softens judgment and makes kindness possible. We start to react with calm instead of anger. So, anger turns into a teacher. We can follow it to the heart's secret rooms. We find the truth that wants to be seen when we look deeper. And in that truth, mending starts, taking off the mask and putting on honesty and kindness. Change your anger into useful energy. Anger has a lot of power. It burns and destroys when it is used wrong. But if it is changed, it can lead to growth, bravery, and good things. The important thing is to turn its power into something positive. Think of anger as fire. Fire can burn, but it can also cook, light, and warm. How we use it makes a difference. Destructive words can be driven by the same force that makes people want to build, heal, or stand up for justice. When you start to reframe, you should ask yourself, how can this energy serve a greater purpose? If your anger comes from something not being fair, use it to work for fairness. If it's because you don't feel heard, let that give you the strength to speak up in a calm but strong way. If it comes from being let down, let it push you to grow and put in more effort. We don't hold our anger in or let it out. Instead, we guide it. Intention is needed for this. Take a moment to breathe when you feel the heat. In this moment, Ask yourself, what route leads to progress? Could this energy help me figure out what I need? Could it be used to solve the problem instead of blaming the person? When you change your frame, anger changes from an enemy to a friend. This habit turns into a normal one over time. The fire that used to destroy ties now makes them stronger. It leads to open conversations, personal progress, and world-changing good things. This kind of change was the start of many important efforts for justice. When anger turned into kindness, it changed what it did. On a daily level, it gives us the push we need to get out of our comfort zones, speak our truth, and live our lives as they really are. Anger's power is not something to be afraid of. It needs to be understood, led, and changed. In the right hands, it shows the way forward. It makes things instead of killing them. It brings people together instead of separating them. And in that change, we find the real power that was hidden in what seemed to be just fire.